What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast one more time. As always, your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author, creator, director, host of the Montana Method Podcast. Today, I have a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
All the way from New Jersey.
Yes, South Jersey.
Happy to have you in the building, Ms. Dnita.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's good. It's cold. Now it's cold.
You're telling me I'm from Miami.
Right.
I flew over here just to record these podcasts, and I'm like, man, get me out of here, you know? The good thing is, like I was telling you, this is my happy place. I'm like a little kid in a candy store when I podcast. This is great. I get to talk to great people, have great conversations, put content out that people learn from and are inspired by. There's nothing better than that.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. You know, I have like old friends that are still doing time, and they'll you know on their cell phones in there or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll see me on Instagram and be like, man, you're so inspiring.
You're doing so good. Yeah. And it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
it does.
Gives you purpose.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Definitely. Are you in a state of your life right now where you think you're finding purpose?
Yes. I feel like, telling my story is part of my purpose. But, I'm a Christian woman, so they always say, like, your purpose is really not about you. So even though I'm doing this story, it's really helping someone else. But I'm glad I'm able to have a story to show what God has done for me in my life to help someone else.
I love that.
Thank you.
So, Dnita, your story is pretty cool. We met through Ian.
Yes.
My good friend Ian. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to his studio for hosting all these podcasts.
We appreciate you, Ian.
Definitely. So, I saw your story on there, and I was like, man, I gotta have her on. This is gonna be great. These clips are about to go crazy. These clips gonna go crazy.
It was a rough time. It was I can't even put it together right now, but that was a rough time in my life. Like, it just seemed like soon as everything started to go great, and then boom, like, that happened.
Yeah.
I started out as an athlete in high school, always got good grades.
What sport did you play?
Basketball, and then I ran track too. But basketball was my number one, my baby.
From South Jersey, your whole life?
South Jersey, whole life. And then I went to junior college. Then I went to West Virginia for 2.5 years, finished off, and played basketball there. Got a scholarship, like everything. I was always that girl that was the go-getter, good grades, not bad. Just regular. And in life, things just happen, and you don't know why it happens. You don't want them to happen, but it's just things happen in your life, and it changes your life.
There's a mix of, life. There's such a mix of things happen in such a way where it couldn't happen any other way.
Right.
Because things had to turn out how they had to turn out.
Right.
And at the same time, you think like, man, what about all the other possibilities that could have happened from this one choice,
Right.
It's trippy for me, it's super trippy to think about that kind of stuff. Like, if you get to a certain one spot in your life and you make one decision differently, it turns into a whole other thing.
Absolutely. One decision.
If I wouldn't have went to prison, I wouldn't be here with you.
Right. We probably would have never met.
We would, if neither one of us would have, neither one of us would be here right now.
Right. So
Yet, it's like possibly the best thing that ever happened was.
Right. But look what happened. Even though that situation happened, look where it's led us in life, like as in going forward right now. It's like going to prison was bad. I hated it and everything, but like the things that happened after it, the growth that I've got mentally,
as a result of it,
physically, all that. I probably would not have had that if I didn't. To be honest, I don't think I would have. Like, just the strength and everything I endured because of that, I don't think I would have had that if I didn't go. I'm be honest.
I say the same thing, and even to this day, I hear myself saying prison might be the best thing that ever happened.
Right. Because y'all look at life differently because of it. You think of things differently, because of it, because of one decision, unfortunately. But, all right.
Some great people in history have gone to prison. Yeah.
Right.
You know, Nelson Mandela did 27 years.
Right.
Right. Gandhi was in prison. Martin Luther King got arrested. He got thrown in jail.
Arrested. Right. So it's not Malcolm X.
Yeah. No, the list goes on and on and on. Great people have spent time in prison.
So it doesn't make me feel like, all right, it ain't the worst thing in the world that could happen.
I mean, they give Niccolo Machiavelli a lot of shit, but I consider him a great man, and he did time in prison too. So it's, I mean, again, great people have come out of trying. Like, I think the harder the times get, and the greater the person is, like, the better it is for them.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
So that's the context. Hard things is the context for turning the right people into even greater people.
The right into great.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
So Dnita, all right, let's get into your story. So you grew up in South Jersey. You played sports.
Yes.
2-parent household?
Yes, 2-parent household.
Good parents?
No, great parents. They still married. We just ended up celebrating their anniversary the other day of 39 years married.
That's so cool,
52 years together.
I have an aunt and uncle that have been married like 53 years. It's so cool.
And I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about how long they've been married, and I'm like, you know what? I'm 39 years old, and I'm not even in a relationship, let alone marriage. Like, geez, I'm losing right now. compared to what they going through, like, I'm losing. Yeah. Like, they've already been married with kids at my age at this point.
No, but that's not the common denominator nowadays. That's that's
times
like
changed.
That's the
Times
exception.
changed. Times changed. But
okay, so they're 2-parent. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have an older sister. I have a twin sister.
Oh, you're a twin. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, we
identical or fraternal?
Nah, I knew you was going to ask that.
Fraternal.
We're fraternal.
Okay.
Yeah, but people do think we look alike.
Okay.
But she's light skinned. I'm brown skinned. Vanilla chocolate. That's how they say. That's what they say. And I had a younger brother that passed away a couple years ago. So we're still going through that emotionally and mentally. But yeah, we had a good family growing up. Everything was good, middle class family. Good life. Yeah, I couldn't complain about my childhood at all.
So you play sports, high school?
Yeah, high school sports. Went to college. Was a worker outside. Graduated college. Started working outside of college, trying to find, my niche, because I went to school for physical education. So I end up doing that, working in the school system. And then I end up wanting to be a correctional officer, changing my career path, because teaching wasn't financially like enough. But the crazy thing is, even though it wasn't, but I loved it. I did love teaching. I love helping people. I love being there for people or making them feel good. Like, just that doing that alone, like, that's just what I always love to do. I love to make people feel good. So teaching was good for me, but I wanted to make money at this time and everything. So I ended up changing my career, and then I was a correctional officer, went to the academy, passed the academy, and I was just like, all right, let's start this career path. But I knew I didn't want to be in the prison for long. Like, I knew I wanted to change and be outside. Like, I didn't want to be in the actual prison, in the jail. So I wanted to be like a detective or anything. I was just doing that to put my foot in the door.
Right.
Let me say that. I was doing that to put my foot in the door. And unfortunately, I didn't get that far, because 8 months into it, I was driving, and to think about it, in hindsight, it's like, I wish I would have never did it, but it wasn't a bad decision when the decision was made. Something like this happens to people every day, unfortunately. But I was trying to pass a car, and it was legal. I could pass. They had the dotted lines, and as I was trying to pass, the person sped up, which led me to having to make a decision of what I was going to do. And now at that point, the lines end up turning solid. And at that, because it was like quick. One of them solid, like real quick. And then about time, it was like everything happened so fast. I look down, look up, and then it's like another car coming. Wow, this car is also right here, and I'm in the other lane. And then I didn't know what to do, and I just hurry up, try to stop my brakes and try to not hit the cars, and everything happened. And me and the car had a head-on collision, and I ended up getting ejected outside of the car.
Wow.
And that's the moment that changed my life. I got helicoptered to Christiana Hospital in Delaware. They were trying to do the best they could, which they did. Shout out to Christiana. They did their thing for me. And
what injuries did you have?
2 broken legs, missing my hip by an inch.
Wow.
Half an inch. Collapsed lung, ruptured spleen, and some cuts and bruises.
Were you in a coma?
Nope.
You were wide awake for everything?
Yep.
Even when you got ejected out of the car and everything, you were wide awake?
When I got ejected from the car, I was up. But, I mean, I don't remember it because everything just happened
so
just
fast.
like that. Yeah, but I remember being outside the car, and I was laying on my stomach. And I remember people hollering like, oh, my God, her legs. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get up. I'm trying to go to work. What y'all talking about? Like,
yeah.
And I remember, like, bear crawling, but it still didn't dawn on me that I couldn't get up and move. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to get to work. Can somebody call my job and let them know I'm going to be late? They're like, I don't think you're going to work today. And I was like, dang, all right. I'm like, I just started this job. I can't not go today. Like, all right, I'll go tomorrow. It still wasn't dawning on me that this accident was going to be this for my life. I would have never woken up on that day and thought that, you know, somebody would have passed away because of me, you know, me getting ejected from the car, me losing my independence. Like, a lot of things changed in life for me, you know, in that decision.
And that's different from how most people end up in prison. It's very different. So it really is an accident that you didn't mean to cause, or
I would have never done nothing like that.
Yeah.
I would have never done nothing.
So let's keep going with the hospital. So you're in the hospital. You got 2 broken legs, broken hip, spleen.
Yeah, missing my hip by an inch. But they end up doing surgeries after surgery. Within the second surgery that they had when I was in the hospital, I ended up catching an infection in my leg. So then I was supposed to be in the hospital for only a week. That week turned into being 3 months.
Wow.
And then I had to keep getting constant surgeries, clean outs, them trying to figure out what they wanted to do with my legs at this point. And still, at this point, I didn't know somebody passed away. Because my family didn't tell me. I'm still trying to get myself together.
Right.
I'm still not even here mentally. You know, they have me medicated, you know, on a whole bunch of medications because of the pain that I'm in. It was half of I'm still getting stories about what's going on, because some stuff I just don't remember. A lot of stuff I just don't remember. So I'm still getting stories, and in the stories I'm writing a book, so it's a lot more detailed, and it's pretty dope how I got the book. So that's coming soon. But yeah. So as I was in there, and I was getting those surgeries, I got the infection, and he didn't know what to do, and it took him 3 months until the infection cleared up, and he was hoping it was going to clear up because he didn't want to cut my leg off. Like, we didn't. That was his whole big thing. Like, I don't want her to lose her leg.
That's what I was about to ask. Usually when there's like a bad infection, if it gets bad enough, they have to amputate your leg, right?
Yes. And that was the last thing on my mind. I'm like, well, we can do whatever we can do. You know, let's keep going. Like, I know I had so much faith. Like, and that's what the doctor said. Like, they told me after everything was all said and done, they was like, you know what, we never gave up on you because you never gave up. They was like, every time you came in or we came in there, you always had such good spirit. You know, you're always positive, and that made us like, you know what, we're going to keep doing whatever we can do for this girl. She has been through hell and back, and she is always smiling. She's never given up, and that's why we're like, you know, we're here for you because you want to be here for you. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know y'all looked at it like that.
Right,
like, I appreciate it. But it was tough.
So at this point, you're 3 months into the hospital.
Yes.
And the doctors say you're gonna be okay.
Yes. Then they end up taking me to a rehabilitation center in Philadelphia. It was like one of the top 5. at the time. So I went there, and I was only there for about 2 weeks. They showed me my independence. They showed me how to get in and out of cars.
Are your legs weaker
Now?
No, at the time, like
at this time I'm in a wheelchair. I can't even. My legs are like straight. I can't even. People have to help me move my legs. I couldn't.
You had to learn how to walk, basically.
I had to learn how to walk all over again, and it started from wiggling my toes. That's how, like, when they say from the beginning, I couldn't even wiggle my toes. I had to start from ground zero, and that's why I appreciate it so much now that I am able to do it. I mean, I know I'm in a cane. I know I walk with a cane, but from where I came from, it's not from where I came from, and I'm still not finished, because my ultimate goal is to walk without a cane. So I'm gonna keep pushing until it happens, hopefully. And if it doesn't, I would be okay with that, because I know I put in the work. I know I did the best that I could do. So if it doesn't happen, it's okay. I could be at peace with that.
Oh, you come this far, you could go farther.
Right. So that's my mentality. I'm always positive. So try to keep that.
So you said you were in rehab for 2 weeks?
I was in rehab for 2 weeks, and then I end up going home. And
at that point, are you walking?
No, absolutely not. I don't walk till about years later.
Oh, wow.
This is just the beginning.
Wow.
And I go home, and after being home for like a couple months, the barracks called and wanted me to come down and make a statement. And I'm like, okay. So I go down, make a statement, and that day is when I found out that somebody passed away because of the accident, and somebody else was hurt. And that's when they told me that, and they locked me up right then and there. They end up letting me out a couple hours later, but they locked me up right then and there. And I was
Did you have to get out on bond?
Yeah, but New Jersey had a no bond reform or something. So like I was in there for a little bit,
and then they let you go.
And then I was let go after like a few hours. But I thought I was staying in there. But I was confused. I'm like, hold on, how I go from coming down and make a statement to being locked up? I didn't even know somebody passed away.
Yeah.
Like y'all telling me something that I don't know. Like, it was crazy. And then
are you still in a wheelchair?
No, I walk with a cane.
How much after going home was that? Like, how long after going home?
I went home in 2018. I really started walking in like 2021.
So the police approached you 3 years later?
No, the police approached me. Okay, my accident happened October 26, 2017. I end up going to rehabilitation
for 3
January.
months?
No, I was in the hospital from October to January.
Okay.
October 2017 till January 2018. Then the cops end up calling me down around April of 2018.
It took them a while.
Yeah, 2018.
But I guess since you weren't walking and they wanted to let you like recover, maybe.
I guess I don't know. They called the house, and I answered, and when I answered, they said come down. I went right down. That ended up happening in 18.
So this is March, April.
Yup.
18.
And then I ended up getting indicted in like July.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up one morning and it was in the paper and I was indicted. I was so embarrassed.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on, like, what does this mean? Like, was everything okay? I'm not sure. Like, I was never in trouble in the legal system. Like, I really don't know that part of life like that.
Yeah, when I got indicted, I thought my life was over.
Yeah, it was like, for one, it's embarrassing. Especially, like, and I'm used to being in the newspaper, just not on no stuff like that. Like, I'm used to being in the newspaper, Hamilton scored 1,000 points. Oh, Hamilton did this, that. Like, I never,
Dnita Hamilton gets indicted by the government.
Yeah, like, somebody, I was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. Like, I would have never, I would have never thought this would happen to me. I would never tried to harm someone. That was definitely, like, an accident. But, so.
What were they trying to charge you with? Involuntary vehicular manslaughter?
They end up charging me with violation of public health and safety. It was second-degree violation of public health and safety.
That's a little different. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a 4-year sentence.
Do you how long till you like find a lawyer? Try to like.
I found a lawyer immediately.
Do you try to go to trial? What do you try to do?
Yeah, we was trying to figure out like, you know, what are we going to do like in this, and stuff costs a lot. So I was like, I don't know if I have trial money, but you know, we're going to try to figure something out.
I spent every dime I had on my lawyer. I went from owning a business, making money, to being banned from owning that business, having no money, spending it all on my lawyer, and having nothing. So yeah, trust me, I know exactly how you feel. Yeah.
It gets pricey.
So you find a lawyer.
I find a lawyer.
What do you decide to do based on the like everything?
We decided to figure out what we're going to do. We end up getting charged with, like I said, violation of public health and safety, which was a 4-year sentence, and 2nd-degree aggravated assault.
Is this state or federal?
This is state.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to serve state, but during this time of even going back and forth to court, I was still trying to learn how to walk. Wow. I was still in the middle of getting surgeries. My surgeries weren't finished yet. I was going through therapy. It was like, you know, it was a lot that was going on in these times. Like every time I felt like I was taking a step forward, I was taking 2 steps back. Like the resilience in this part of my life really showed the strength, and you know, my family support system, you know, my mental, you know, and it was definitely challenging days, and you know, it was good days and challenging days, but that part of my life really showed me who I was. That I didn't know who I was. I didn't know I could ever have been that strong in my life ever. I'm gonna be honest.
It's not until life puts you in these difficult situations that you find out what you're really made of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trust me.
I have a tattoo. Never know how strong you are until being strong is all you had. And that is so true.
It's kind of like that old that old adage. It's like you don't know how desperate a tiger is until you back him up into a corner.
You never know.
Then you find out really what that tiger's willing to do to survive. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
you're still going through therapy, still getting surgeries.
Yes.
In the middle of a state indictment.
Trying to.
How long does the legal process drag out?
All the way from 2018 till so about 3 years.
You get indicted March, April, around that time?
Yes.
Is when you got indicted?
No, July, right around July.
July, yeah, you told me that. The summer of 18?
Yes. And then we start trying to figure out what we were doing from that point on, and then what happened? They end up finding me guilty in 2019. June 2019.
So a year later.
Yes. I ended up getting found guilty, but then I didn't have to
appear self-surrender.
Right, until November. November they decided, like, I guess what were they going to do? Was I going to, I guess, maybe get house arrest, or was I going to prison? Like it was like up for toss or whatever. And
so you did go to trial.
So I ended up going to prison. No, I ended up going to.
No, what I'm saying, you did go to trial, and they found you guilty.
They found me guilty.
Okay.
I didn't go to trial, but they found me guilty. I didn't go to trial. I was just going to court back and forth, but I didn't have to go to trial.
Okay. Did you plead guilty?
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
Yes.
And then they gave you like a plea deal of 4 years.
And then that's what they did, 4 years.
I understand. Okay. So you get sentenced June 2018.
2019.
I'm sorry, June 2019. And in November of that year, you got a self-surrender.
Yep, I went to court, and they were like trying to figure out. That day I went to court, I wasn't sure if I was going to prison or if I was going home. And
that's exactly what happened. The day I got sentenced, I was like, I handed my mom all my stuff. I'll never forget this. I handed my mom all my stuff. My mom was there, and I told her, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
I couldn't even cry because I was just like, I'm so confused right now. Like I'm so like disoriented. I could go home today, or I could be in prison.
Right.
So I was just like,
that's the scariest. The thought of it.
I handed my mom, and I wrote a list of stuff like, look, Mom, like
this is what I need.
This is where I got my stuff at the house. If, I paid my car insurance off for 6 months. If I don't get out in time, whatever, please, like this is the day I got all these things, like preparing,
I get it.
And I was so embarrassed at work that I couldn't even like. I didn't even tell them.
You ain't tell your boss?
I was just gonna be like, look, if I go to prison today, Mom, call my job and just tell them that I went to
Yeah.
prison, whatever, you know. So, but I just ended up getting sentenced that day.
Okay.
And then I got sent to prison later. So it's similar to what
Okay.
happened. Yeah.
All right.
So it's funny. I know. Trust me. I know exactly how you feel.
That feeling is horrible. So
Yeah.
they end up. So November 1st, 2019, I end up going in, and while I was in there, I end up catching an infection in my leg.
Oh, again, man.
I end up catching it because I just got finished having a surgery. So the crazy thing is because my lawyer had asked the judge, can we just post it, just maybe a week out, because she's supposed to go to the doctors on that Monday, just to make sure everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge looked at the family and asked the family, like, is that what y'all want to do? And they were like, no. And I'm like,
man,
we're asking a family that's actually, and I get it, but like, they're an emotional family right now, and I know they want me to serve this time, and I am going to serve it. I haven't fled or haven't done anything in this amount of time. I just want to make sure, my leg is okay, and I will serve the time, and I would do with the consequences that they were going to give me. Like I understood, and when that happened, I got that infection, and I was in jail for 22 days. At this point, I was in prison. Let me not downgrade. I was in prison for 22 days.
I do the same thing when people are like, "Oh, you went to jail." I went to prison.
It's a difference, believe me. And the hospitals up there didn't know what to do. The prison didn't know what to do with my leg. So then they end up releasing me and sent me home. And I end up going back to Delaware.
Which is a miracle of God.
Because I would have...
The prison system typically would let your leg rot. Yeah,
yes. Because they were already where they had sent me to, the place they sent me to, that doctor already was like, oh, yeah, we're cutting your leg off. And I was like, oh, no, y'all got to... somebody called my sister. I got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. I was like, I've been working too hard on my legs. I'm sorry for them to be trying to just come in here and cut my leg off. Mm-hmm. Like, my doctor in Delaware would clean my legs out stuff. This is what they would do. Like, I'm trying to tell them, like, I know what I'm doing. I really don't. But I'm like, like, y'all need to call my doctor. My doctor would do this. But, God, that's how I know God is real. I got out, got my leg clean, and only had to get one cleaning. And then it was infected real bad. Only had to get one cleaning. And I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
And everything, I still, and then I had to work back to trying to learn how to walk again. It was like always something. Like I said, when that happens, now you got to go back and try to move your legs again and do the different exercises. It was like it was always a setback with everything that was going on. So it was just like, so after that, I end up going home 2021, that January, 2021, and COVID hit. So I had to go back to court to decide, for them to see what they were going to do. That February, I had to go back, but it was...
it was virtual?
It was virtual. And, 20. I'm sorry, I'm lying. Back it up. 2020 is when I got out the hospital, because that was 2019 I went in. 2020 I ended up getting out the hospital, and that's February 2020 is when they was trying to decide what we was going to do, but COVID happened, and so the world shut down, and then I was out. So now I'm out for a year, and they're still trying to figure out, like, we're still having court, though, and they're trying to figure out, like, what's going on, am I going back, blah, 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 blah. And then they decided in 2021, you're going back, you're going to serve this time. And because I was like, could I just get house arrest at this point? Like, I've been home. Is this, like, time served? Like, what are we doing here? I haven't been anywhere, everything. And they're like, no. 2021, January 7th, I end up turning myself in. And that's when my time, they just sent me straight upstate. That's when my time started. My dad rolled me in. My brother was sick with COVID at that time. My mom was sick with COVID at that time. We didn't know, what was going to happen. I didn't tell my mom that I was going away because I didn't want to stress her out. I was just like, and the fact that I got out before, I was like, maybe this could happen again. Like, because the prison that I was at was a lot of things going on in this prison. People, like a couple people actually died during COVID at that prison. And the fact that I already was in there and caught the infection and I was like infection prone and everything, like a lot of stuff medically was going on with me. And I'm like, they already showed that they didn't want me. So why not just let me help y'all? I'll help y'all financially. Just let me sit home and everything. But nah, they wanted me to serve that time and I understood. So I served the time and I got willed in there by my father. And I tried to get something called ISP. It's like intensive supervision, and it got denied. And then after that I was just like, you know what? I have to serve this time, and I'm not going to let this time go in vain. Like, what are you going to do, Neat? Well, all right, let's start working out. And I was a CEO before, so it was like when I was a CEO, we had that inmate kind of mentality because like they break you down to build you back up. So I already kind of was an inmate before without being an inmate. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just do what I do. I already know, different things. They don't know that I was a current CEO, because you don't tell your stuff that, if they find out, I guess they find out. But as far as I know, ain't nobody found out what I did. They asked me like, where did you work? I'm like, I work for the state. And I just, like, they was like, and I told them I teach before, so I just, like, rolled out with that.
So what was it like working as a CO and then having to go to prison and now be an inmate in the same state that you were CO? What was that like at the beginning? Not the first 3 weeks, not when you really started doing your time. What was that like?
For one, even just being in a wheelchair, I was nervous because I just felt like I didn't have the.
You got sent to prison in a wheelchair?
Yes, I was still in my wheelchair when I went to prison.
You weren't walking?
No, not at all. Nope. Wow. Nope. I was strengthening my legs and going through therapy when I was out, trying to strengthen my legs and everything. But I wasn't at that stage of like getting busy. No, I was not. Wow. No, I was not. So then when they sent me in there, when, like you said, I was nervous. I was nervous because I just felt like I didn't have just my situation. Like I just felt like what would happen if something happens to me? Like I can't defend myself, And I'm not a fighter anyway. But at least with my legs, I know I can do something. Like I can stand, I can do whatever. I can't. Somebody right now want to do something. They want to come over and push me down. You can push me down because my legs aren't strong enough to do that. Like I'm walking and doing little different things, but I still don't have the balance and the strength for that type of capacity of doing something now. So I started just working out in there, and it was just like staying to myself, reading books. Reading the word, talking to my family, talking to my friends, like, talking in my relationship. Like, I had set myself up a routine at that time. And from 6:45 when the lights cut on till 9:30 when the lights cut off, I had a routine. Like, every day was the same thing. And I couldn't wait till 9:30 came. I'm like, I used to be like, lights out. Like, when y'all turn these lights out? Because I just knew that when I fell asleep, which was only going to take like 10 minutes. When I fell asleep, but when I wake up, it's going to be a new day. And it's like one day closer to going home. And that's all I cared about was like one day closer to going home, one day closer to going home. But I also knew, like, with me working out, I'm getting excited and I'm anxious. I can't wait to get out. And the crazy thing is I didn't know when I was getting out still at this time. I knew that after a year, it was like 12 months and 29 days. 11 months and 29 days I can come off for parole. They had said, they had like offered. But I had to make sure, like, with a flat number, sometimes they say like they can hit people on parole. Like it's so many things I had learned in the prison system that I had no idea about when I was in there.
Same exact thing happened to me. I learned so much about the prison system and laws and how things work. That's a big difference. I did Fed time, so it's big difference between Fed and state parole. Parole is like a huge difference. That doesn't exist in the Feds.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. Ain't no parole.
Was it probation or something?
We get probation after we finish our sentence.
Oh, you have to...
Prior to maybe 2018, 2017, a law was passed called the First Step Act that started giving us... Well, what happens now is for every month you serve, you get 10 to 15 days good time.
Oh.
But before that, it was you serve 85% of your sentence. Period.
Yeah, 85.
End of story.
Right.
And then you got probation, but there was no parole for
wow.
not in the Feds. Not in the Feds. Yeah. So.
But they say Feds is nice there or something. They call it
nicer.
Oh.
Not nice. It's prison. It's prison. You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
And like I was in a prison camp, so some people would work their way down. There's the penitentiary, which is the highest level. There's the medium, which is still horrible, but it's better than the pen. There's the low, which is still not good, but better than the medium. And then there's the camp, which is, the best situation.
Right.
But you're still in prison.
Right.
You're still being told what to do. You're still being kept against your will. You're still eating shitty food. So, yeah, I was in the best situation to be in prison, in a federal prison camp. That's like the best possible prison to go to, but you're in prison.
Prison is right.
I get to go outside. There's fresh air. There's advantages, but it's prison. Yeah, I'm sure your prison was probably 10 times worse.
Yeah, and I was in a female prison.
In the state prison, which is notoriously horrible, but
yeah. And we only in New Jersey we only have one female prison, and it's in Clinton. Is in Clinton, New Jersey.
Funny enough, where I was used to be a female prison camp, and then I got converted into a male camp.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only female prison, and it's been rumors that it was going to get shut down. It's still been there. It's still there.
Yeah, ours got converted into a male prison. There was a whole bunch of lawsuits and like rape allegations and
that's why at the prison that I was at, that's why it was going to be shut down, because like it was all over the news. Someone had a baby with a guy that was in that prison because he was transgender. So he was also doing it was all over the news and everything, and she ended up having a baby by the guy, and he ended up getting transferred, or she, the transgender, ended up being transferred.
So this was a guy that said he was a woman, and got sent to a female prison, and then
he changed his sexuality.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It was a man who says he's a woman, then he gets sent to a female prison, and then he got one of the other inmates pregnant.
Yes. He was doing both.
I should have done that.
He was doing both women, and then one of them got pregnant.
I should have done that.
That's what they say. It's like a whole big thing. Lord. It's a whole big thing with that. Like
that's crazy. That was in your prison. That big story.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, so it was.
No, that was like national news. Yes. When that dude got another, he was like, transgender inmate.
Yeah, I know him.
All right, so let's be real. Was he really like transgender, or was he just like trying to get one over on everybody?
I knew him. I didn't like talk to him.
But you didn't talk to him. No. You just saw him around.
Like I would see him, and I'm like, hi. Like that was it. So
did it look like he was a normal dude, like, or did it look like he
He had like I don't know. He.
I guess you.
He had like a beard, like not like a.
So he looked like a normal man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had braids. Yeah, he looked like a normal man, but he, identified as a female.
As a female.
Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of them that,
that were there.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That identified.
Okay.
Yeah, and they can only stay in supposedly like one area.
Like their own area.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they can't be like they're separated from the rest.
Obviously, after this happened, right?
Well, they were supposed to be separated before. Well, they're separated before that, but people find because they work and stuff, so people find out what corners to go to, that's I guess, crazy. And stuff like. They are very
creative.
They are creative. Like even with cooking and stuff, like being in prison. I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, you know what? being in prison, I learned how to survive. I was like, because there's a lot of things that
I share the feeling
that I never would have done if I wasn't like, just something like they don't have knives in there, just something small as that. They like, oh yeah, we're gonna use our cards to cut. I'm like, I never would have thought about cutting no meat with my card. Like my card just used, like I'm not touching, like it's just the little things that I just would have never thought, just, being in prison. And, I respect them. I respect those girls. Like, they would, just because you're in there, you're not bad, but, it's just.
I'm the same. I learned how to cook in prison. I learned how to do a few things in prison that I never.
Cook, and you cook from the microwave, right?
Microwave. Some people had the stinger,
Okay, we never had the stinger. We only had the microwave, and it's like, it was cool. It was cool. Like the taco bowls and making all that. Yeah, that was the best food in prison to me. I was like, dang, that was all right.
You go to commissary, buy a bunch of stuff, kind of make your own dish.
And everything. So, like, prison wasn't the best thing that would have wanted for my life, but what I got out of it, mentally, physically, and spiritually, like I said, like has changed my life. To which, I appreciate that part, because I wouldn't be who I am, like mentally and physically now, if that possibly didn't happen. So dang, we didn't went off track.
No. I mean, that's all part of prison,
Yeah, it is.
So
it is.
Now 11 months passed by, and are you eligible for parole at this time?
Oh, so what's crazy is the day.
I'm good at
pulling back.
I got your back.
So the crazy thing is the day that I end up getting in my accident in October 26, 2017 was the day that I got out of prison. But it was October 26, 2021. So it was like a full circle. I end up getting out that day, and when my twin sister, and my dad came and picked me up, I was at this time walking with a rollator because I didn't worked out. I started walking with I started using my wheelchair as like a walker, just trying to like just doing different things because I didn't have anything. And one of the nurses in there seen that and was like, you know what? I'm about to do something for this girl. I end up getting me a rollator. So now I'm walking around, and at this point I'm in the halfway house though. So I'm walking in there in the halfway house, and when my dad at the time came and picked me up, I walked out of there, and they're like, what? And I got home, my mom and my family was there, and they had a ramp there for me, and I end up like walking up the ramp and everything. Like it was just like such a blessing, because when I went in there, like I said, I was getting pushed around. And I got out.
Did any of the other ladies like try to take advantage of you? Like try to like steal from you or like treat you badly?
Yeah, they were actually really nice. Like they were really nice. Some of them, like I'm actually still really cool with one of the females there now to this day. Like she ended up becoming like my real good friend, and I hold her down. Like she calls me and just needs to vent and just talk. Like I'll talk to her. Like she became a really good friend of mine. And my bunkie also, me and her end up being really tight as well. And she's about to finally get out. So hopefully hopefully I get a chance to see her. But there's a few of the women that are out right now, and as well as me. And I talk to them on Instagram and stuff. Like we see each other, and all of us look clearly totally different. Like we definitely don't look like when we was in prison, because I see the pictures. I'm like, oh, but I mean, it feels good just to still just have the contact with a couple of those women, because like I said, just because the situation happened and you were in there, and being in prison, I guess the first thing you think is like, oh, these people bad, just happen to be a unfortunate situation. Some things happen on purpose and people learn. Some things happen on accident. Either way, you were both still in prison. Now, what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to learn from it? Whether it was an accident or on purpose, you got to figure out what you're going to do with your life.
100%. You're dealt the cards you're dealt, and the difference between people who have the life they want and people who don't, or people who play their cards. Play your cards. You do what you know.
Correct.
Some people are born with a royal flush. Some people are born with pocket deuces. It is
right.
What it is.
Right.
You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
make the best of it.
Yes.
And find a way to make it better.
Right.
That's what we got.
Yes.
So you're out now.
I'm out.
You're semi-walking with a walker.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
I got my rollator.
Okay.
I'm just at this point. I'm home. I'm just somebody had hit me up to do a podcast and wanted me to be on this podcast. And at this point, a lot of people around town or just a lot of people I know everywhere has never heard my story before. And a lot of people always say, I never wanted to really ask you, Dnita. So I end up doing this podcast, and it like kind of just like blew up. Like his opportunity blew up. I was able to tell my story to people, and then people would tell me how, my story was, touching and everything. And, with my story, being that someone happened to pass away in that accident, that makes it really tough. And, I've always heard different things like, oh, well, you killed someone in this accident. Like, why are you laughing on these podcasts? This is like, no, I'm not laughing. And yes, somebody unfortunately died. And they were like, why don't you talk about the family? Because one, I don't want to speak on the family because I'm not sure how they even feel about me wanting to say anything about them. That's just the respect that I would give them, not trying to down anything of the situation. But even though this situation has happened to me, I'm showing just the resilience of just not giving up, because you can give up. And then if I gave up, then what? Because like we just said earlier, you have a choice. Life is full of choices. Like if I gave up, now what? So I'm just happy that I was, blessed and still was able to have the strong enough mental capacity to try to show and talk to the people, talk to the world and everything, to let them know about God and what I'm doing, and how God is real, and just show people the resilience of it. That's what it's really about. Not boasting or anything. It's just showing the power of God and the resilience, and showing that doesn't matter what you're in, you can still do it. You can still do it. And that's really what my story is about. That I like to show people, and also showing that look how your life can be, and then look how it can turn out. I was a student, athlete, college graduate, this, that, the third, going to CO and everything, to go to prison. Prison doesn't care who you was, what you had going on, all that. You can see Puffy, they don't care. Once you cross them lines, once you get in them bars, they don't care who you are, to an extent anyway. But just regular people, they don't care who you are in prison. All that stuff that you did prior to that means absolutely nothing. And when I was in prison, I was 0703 070305E.
Yeah, it was 57761-509.
See? It's a number that you just...
No, it's burned into your mind.
Yes.
You'll never...
Forget it.
You'll never forget it. Yeah.
I was not Dnita Hamilton. I was those numbers in Hamilton. That was it. It was either that number or they saying your last name Hamilton. That was it. So...
And now we're here.
And now we're here. So it's
after you started getting on a couple podcasts, obviously people start finding out about your story.
Yes.
So what's happening in your mind? What are you thinking? Because obviously it just starts off as people inviting you because you have a pretty crazy story. But from there, I'm sure you start thinking all right, what direction should I take this? What should I do? So what are you thinking at that time?
Well, when I was actually in prison, I would talk to one of my friends. And I would tell her, when I get out of here, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. But when you in there, people always be like, oh, man, people just talking. They just, and I'm like, but she believed in me. I believed in it when I said it. I was like, yo, I'm going to be a motivational speaker when I get out of here. That's what I want to do. I was like, I don't know how to start or where to start or whatever. I was like, but all I just need is an opportunity. And when that opportunity happens, I'm like, I'm going to be good. And I end up being on a podcast, and then somebody end up asking me to do an event, and so things were coming in for me, and then that's how it happened. And the guy that did the first podcast on me, he was somebody that I ended up working with when I went to prison. Well, he was my partner that was right next to me. I'd say his name is Michael Hansberry. my last name is Hamilton. So when we were in the academy, me and him were sitting next to each other. That's how I met him. And then we were in the same platoon. And then he ended up not being a correctional officer anymore. And I couldn't be because of my situation. But then he ended up having a podcast and put me on his podcast. And then that's how that happened for us. So he gave me that opportunity, and I was like, all right. And then it started going on from there. And then I started having, like I said, events, and then different people would see me, and then they want me to be on their podcast, and I would have more events, and it would just be like a domino effect. It would just happen. Sometimes it's better than other times. Like sometimes it rolls in a lot, and then sometimes it gets dry. But I love when the opportunity does present itself, because it makes me feel good. I'm able to to tell my story, like I said, just to show the resilience and everything, of life, and how life can just turn and at the blink of an eye. Seriously. Really.
And that can happen to anybody.
Yeah. This can happen to anybody.
It's kind of like you said. People think, oh, they're in prison, whatever. They're bad people, or they deserve to be there. Not necessarily.
Right.
What happened to you could literally happen to anybody.
And that's what a lot of people say. Like people, that write, and they'll say something like, "Oh, somebody just did that to me," like sped up. Like I just don't understand why people do things like that. Like if they see somebody going by, like why would you speed up? And then people could say, "Well, why did you try to pass?" Because it's not illegal to pass. That's why But just somebody to do something like that just to be like a jerk because you just felt like it, like.
Prison beat the impatience out of me. I'm so patient now.
Yes.
It beat.
Yes.
It beat. Prison beat. You know what beat is? Prison beat the impatience out of me. I am so patient now.
He said it beat.
Yeah.
I feel you. I'm sorry. It's just funny how you said
yeah, because I was so impatient. I was so arrogant before prison. Things need to happen in this way right now. No, it doesn't.
Because everything there is on their time.
And exactly.
It's on their time. They don't care. You're going to wait.
So that translated into I don't break the speed limit anymore. Like, I'm never in a rush.
Right.
I just prepare and I'm, like I prepare my day and I prepare things. So where I'm on time everywhere. Right. And I'm never in a rush. I'm never trying to. It's interesting how that one characteristic that has to be the biggest lesson I learned in patience.
Right.
So that one and patience, when you become a patient person, it affects your whole life.
Yes, everything. I can see that.
Everything.
I can see that.
It's something that just affects everything about you when you become patient.
I can see that.
So, yeah, resilience. Resilience sometimes takes patience. Resilience sometimes just takes biting down your tongue and just not doing certain things, and like you want to yell at this person right now because even though they're wrong and what they're doing isn't right, you got to bite down your tongue and leave it alone. And that's patience. Patience isn't pretty sometimes. You know what I mean?
Good way to say it. Patience isn't pretty.
No, it's not. But a lot of patience is painful and withholding anger and stopping yourself from doing something stupid. That's patience.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
because prison, now that I think about it, prison and just my situation of having to learn how to walk again, which took years to do, that took patience. That took patience.
Mixed in with being in prison. Like
yes.
That's
right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now to think about it, now that you said that, thanks, Nelson.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Dnita, it was great having you on.
Thank you.
I usually ask 3 questions to wrap up.
What's up?
So, first question. What inspires you?
My mother. And she inspires me because she just went on 29 years yesterday, December 12th, 29 years of having a heart transplant. She got a kidney transplant in February of 2024. And she's just like a strong person. So just seeing just things that she went through just inspires me to get up every day and like, you know what? I just watched my mom go through, this throughout her life. I'm like, I can do this too. Not like say I want transplants, just like get up and just do something. Like, I still got my legs. All right, I can, one step at a time, I can do this, I can do that. My My mom is an inspiration for me.
Yeah, my mom has sacrificed a lot for me. She was the only one there. When I got sentenced, the only people there were her and my grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a strong, I have a good support system. I have a good support system.
Another sobering moment in life was when I got sentenced. When I knew, like, you're going to prison. You know. And you're going on this date. And I turn around, and the entire courtroom is empty, except for my mother and my grandfather. Empty. Not a person there. Nobody. My grandfather and my mother, which my grandfather died while I was in prison, by the way. So that's, you know what sobering is? Everything, all of a sudden, all the stuff that doesn't matter in life is gone out of your mind. Completely gone. And all of a sudden, the only thing that becomes clear in your mind are the things that do matter in life.
Yeah.
Like your mother and your grandfather.
Yeah.
You know? So
That's her father?
My father's father.
Okay, your father's father.
But yeah. So, yeah, my mother...
she got your back.
100%. I'll never doubt it for the rest of my life. 100%. Second question, what's next for you? What's next for you?
Hopefully I can get more speaking events and everything for 2025. You know, I'm going to do my vision board, keep my vision up, write down things that I know I want to do for 2025, and push to do them. Everything that I have that, you know, I have set up in my mind, I'm gonna put it down, I'm gonna write it down, and I'm gonna get to it. So, like, more speaking events, more podcasts, and also helping, you know, more people. That's my happy place. Doing this and stuff is my happy place.
I have no doubt you'll have it very soon, sooner than later. And last question, how do you want to be remembered?
Ooh. I want to be remembered as somebody that was real, that was genuine. That
we don't have a lot of that nowadays.
Yeah, like, I'm fine with being imperfect, but just knowing that people would know that I was a genuine and a real person. That's how I want to be remembered. Sweet, like, you know. I'm not saying I don't have my mean streaks or whatever, but if you say something like Dnita Hamilton, like, yo, she was a genuine person. She was very nice. She was very real. Something like that. Because my accident doesn't define who I am. That day, that mistake, that time frame, that period doesn't define who I am. Because if that family would have met me a day before at the grocery store, they would have loved me. They would have had a conversation just like, hey, I'm sorry, hey, how you doing? They would have loved me, but that's not the circumstances that we met. Right. You know, so unfortunately, you know, that's not what we get, but I still pray for him.
Ever since I came into this podcasting world, I've met some people who are doing really well doing this podcasting thing. One of them is Ian. I love Ian because he's the most down-to-earth dude.
He is.
And
he really is.
And he's doing well. Like, he's
so humble.
He's living the life of every podcaster's dream. Like, every podcaster dreams of, like, having 300,000 subscribers and getting calls from Spotify and being sponsored by, like, whatever, you know, Tyson. Like, he's doing the things that all of us want to do. And the fact that he's the same exact person he is over the phone, in front of the camera, behind it, he's the same exact person.
So humble.
I love about, and that's all I want to be. I want to be authentic. I'm the same person on the podcast as I am off the podcast, and I can't fake that. Yeah. I can't be one person on the camera and then be another person on. I can't do that.
Because when I spoke to you, until now, you're the same person. That. I was like, Thanks. I wasn't sure how it was going to be, you know, because you don't know. Yeah. But even talking to you, you know, setting it up, you was cool. I was like, all right, I can see his vibe. And then we came in and you was like, oh, yeah, we're going to give hugs. I was like, all right, like, I see it. All right, I like that. Like, you know, just being real. Like, it ain't got to be so uptight. Like,
no, not at all.
It got to be like that.
Yeah. And that's why I think he's going to keep doing well because of his attitude.
Definitely blessed and humble. He is.
So,
and you will, too.
I appreciate it.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, yeah.
One step.
So, Dnita, thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. This was really good. We'll do this again sometime.
Yes.
How can people connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram, Dnita Applebaum, DNITA_APPLEBUM as in Mary. And you can also find me at Nita Strong _Nita Strong _. That's also my other Instagram. And you can find me on TikTok also, Dnita Applebaum. And that's it. Oh, and I'm sorry. Twitter, Dnita Applebaum. And YouTube, Dnita Hamilton. I'm sorry. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We got a few ways you could reach her.
Yeah. You find one, you'll find all.
Alrighty, guys. That was another episode of the Montana Method Podcast. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless. Say goodnight to the bad guy. See you on the next one.
Thank you.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.